Welcome to Strictly Business, which is sponsored by the Bellingham Business Association, the BBA, a nonprofit organization that supports local business and gives back to the community. I'm Marjorie Turner Holman, and I'll be your host today. I'm a longtime Bellingham resident, personal historian, freelance writer, and a board member of the BBA. As a personal historian, I help you turn your family tales into written stories in book form that you can be proud to share with your family and friends. I also produce the Bellingham Mendon Veterans Oral History Project, which collects stories from local veterans about their military experiences. We tape interviews right here at the Cable 8 studios, then forward the stories on to the Library of Congress. Thanks to Cable 8, the Bellingham Cultural Council, and Ironclad Accounting Solutions, Inc., who are supporting this project. Today's guest is Mike Shain of Charles River Bank. Thanks so much for coming.
A pleasure to be here.
Now, before we get started, I want to provide a brief recap of recent BBA events. This past month's meeting was held at Rock and Coal Pizza, and the speaker was Vin Messina, who gave a dynamic presentation about marketing to the BBA membership. Now, Mike, welcome to Strictly Business.
Hello.
And we'll get down to business. Why don't you start by telling us a little about your background, how you got started in banking, and what you love about it?
Okay, great question again. Thanks for having me. I've been involved in community banking for over 25 years. And the way I got into it was by accident. It happened like this. About 25 years ago, I needed a job. I was unemployed, living in Brockton, broke. And Bay Banks at that time was a large bank in New England. They're now defunct. And they were looking for someone to do what's called indirect automobile collection, which is a fancy word for a debt collector. People who are past due for their car loans, you'd call them up, listen to the situation, and try to restructure a repayment plan with them for their past due auto loans. And then from that type of banking,
Does that mean you went and picked up cars off the street?
Actually, as a matter of fact, no. However, great question. However, I was the person who would assign a vehicle when all type of negotiation was exhausted and plans for repayment were not adhered to. Certainly as a bank, you want the money, you don't want the car. But sometimes loans get so far past due and people don't cooperate, you have to have the cars repossessed. So in my very early days of banking, I was the person who would fax over the order, yes, for the car repossession.
You never went and...
I physically never went to anyone's home. I mean, now on TV, they have the reality shows, repo this, repo that. I never did a repo. The only thing I ever did was I faxed the order for the repossession. But again, that was many years ago when my banking career just started.
Okay. You did what you had to do.
I did what I had to do. For the past 20-odd years, though, I've been a mortgage banker, which is much safer and much more productive.
Okay. Houses don't tend to drive around the corner and disappear
Typically
on you.
not. And you're with people for good news, good events, the purchase of a home, the refinance of a home, the payoff of some debt, which typically are positive events, as opposed to a repossession, which typically is never a good thing in someone's life. No one ever looks forward to that repossession.
No, I can't imagine they do. So that's your background.
Yes.
What have you learned in these 25 years that helps you to do your work better than... Think about from where you started
that's
to
a
where
great
you
question.
are. What are some of the lessons that you reflect on?
I think the most important lesson is as follows. Other people have said this, not me, but you have two ears and one mouth, so to listen twice as much as you speak. Everyone has a story, everyone's unique. Everyone's goals, aspirations, and dreams are different. And when you do mortgages, it's really about listening, to stop and listen. What's important to the customer? What are they saying? What are they not saying? What is their body language telling you? And by listening to someone and hearing what they have to say, I think you can offer a better, deeper level of service.
Okay, so listening is
Listening.
one of the things. Anything else?
Listening, and also product knowledge. I mean, I've worked for banks for all my life, and I think that when someone does mortgages for a living, besides just having the license, they really have to have strong product knowledge. Mortgage lending is so complicated. There are so many different mortgage programs now. There are so many different regulations. And I think a mortgage professional like myself makes it a study to know about products and guidelines to, again, offer that better level of service.
You're talking about a license. You have to be licensed?
Since the situation with subprime loans, years ago, if you worked for a bank, you didn't need a mortgage license. You operated under the license of a bank. That's all changed. So someone like myself and all mortgage bankers who work for a bank now have to have a lender's number.
This is...
The federal government.
Really?
Yes, you have to be licensed by the federal government.
Meaning you've got an exam that you've got to take? You've
Actually,
got a fee that you have to pay?
A fee always, an exam no.
Okay.
I mean, we were more or less grandfathered in, but a fee, of course, a test, no.
So is this a yearly renewal, something you
I
have
believe,
to...
I believe it is a yearly renewal. You have to go online and swear in a test that you're the same person, that you live here. We also had to be fingerprinted. I mean, if you remember, during the subprime fiasco, anyone and everyone was a mortgage lender. It didn't take much to get into the business.
Right.
So try to weed out undesirables to bring a level of professionalism to the craft. Now people are mortgage licensed.
Okay.
This way they want to make sure people, years ago when you did a loan, it didn't have to always be in the best interest of the borrower. It could have been the best interest of the lender for commission or for a yield spread. But now when mortgage loans are done, there has to be a clear benefit for the borrower or the borrowers.
Okay. So I'm guessing with this licensing, there's also some kind of hope that they can track down who you are.
Correct.
That you're who you are, you're representing who you are, so that
Correct.
you, if they want to track back,
Sure.
if
Let's
there's a question,
suppose
they
I was
can
an
find
undesirable, which I'm not. But let's suppose for this discussion I'm an undesirable, and I hurt people here, and then I want to open up shop in Michigan. Okay, they'll be able. If I go to Michigan, I'd have to get a number. Once I put my name in there, my number here would come up.
Because there's a national database.
It's a national
of
database,
mortgage
so
lenders.
I'm
Okay.
connected to my number for life. So if I do something wrong here, the thought is that if I go someplace else, what I did wrong here would pop up over there.
Okay. No, that's all.
Kind of to protect the consumer
Sure.
because of what happened back. But keep in mind, though, during the subprime problem, this is very true, the problems were not created by community banks. Community banks have always had a policy, as they do now, is we can only lend on what's verifiable and what's something you can actually see. There were no stated income loans or no doc loans. Those loans did exist, but community banks never did them.
Okay.
Always basics of lending, credit, capacity, collateral.
Those
Never
are the keys.
The
Okay.
keys, sure.
Wow, that's a whole lot.
That's for another show.
No, well, no, it's just it tells me how much out of the mortgage department I've been. I haven't had to deal with that in a long time.
Things have
thankfully.
changed.
Yeah.
Things have changed quite a bit.
All right. Well, talk to me about specific types of services that you all at the bank provide and how you help. I know you're based in Mendon,
I'm
but you're
based in Mendon.
still connected
Sure.
with the
I work for Charles River
Bank.
Bank. Our home office is in Medway. We have a nice, beautiful branch in Bellingham. We have a nice branch in Mendon, and we are the quintessential community bank, brick and mortar. Our bank president lives in Mendon. I live in Milford. Most of the people live, locally. We are what banking used to be and what we've always been. Local people serving local people. And I think, going back to the issue of the meltdown of real estate with subprime loans, there is clearly, in my mind, a return to basics. I call it the Cheers effect. People want a bank where everyone knows your name. In a community bank...
Oh, the Cheers effect.
The Cheers, yes,
Okay.
like the TV show.
Yes, yes.
Everyone knows.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think that's a good thing, that when people bank now, they don't look for just the largest bank. They look for the best bank. And in most cases, no matter where you live, there's a locally owned and operated community bank that has a true vested interest in the communities that they serve. Now, I do mortgages, and it's my function to sit down with potential clients, talk to them, listen, as I said, and listen to about what their mortgage needs are. Okay? And try to find a mortgage program that we have that would work well for them, or perhaps tell them, gee, I'm sorry right now, because of credit, income, or debt, it's not working for you now. But even more than that, if it's not working for you now, lay out a plan that can help them obtain home ownership in the future.
So you'll do financial counseling?
I'll
of
talk to
sorts?
them about this sort. I mean, I'm not a financial planner, but certainly if someone has, too much debt and they'll qualify for a mortgage, one way they could qualify for a mortgage is to, over time, pay down some of that debt.
Sure.
I mean, we all want the Best Buy TV on the wall, but that Best Buy TV comes with a hefty price.
Right. Right. Is Medway, is Charles River Bank still a cooperative
Yes.
bank? What does that mean?
It means it's owned by depositors. In other words, we don't have stockholders. It's owned by our depositors.
Okay.
And that makes us accountable to local people.
So it means that you don't have stockholders that you're trying to get the share price up.
Correct, exactly.
Which the banks that have stockholders.
Correct.
And you hear on the radio about share price
Correct.
and answering to
Many cooperative
stockholders.
banks, when they leave their mother town, drop the name cooperative from their title, but are still cooperative banks. Because people don't know what cooperative means sometimes. So, like Charles River Bank used to be Medway Cooperative
Right,
Bank.
right.
So we moved from Medway, so we just dropped cooperative from the new name. Same bank, but because we moved out of Medway, we added Charles River Bank, changed to it because in our branches in Mendon and Bellingham, the Charles River flows through those towns. That's
Right.
why the name.
Well, it does.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, it's local. In all, Tip O'Neill once said, all politics is local. I think personally that all banking is local as well. For most people, unless they need Krugerrands from South Africa, most banking needs can be done at your local bank. I mean, we have investment services, safety deposit boxes, checking, savings, passbook, safety deposit boxes. So most of your needs can be done right near where you live. We have ATMs. We're members of networks to reduce the fees for the ATMs. So for most people, a bank like Charles River Bank can really suit all their financial needs, and now we even offer investments as well.
There's small business loans as well?
Correct, sure, yep. Small business, medium business. For most people, we can really be a one-stop shop.
Do you still do car loans?
We do car loans, equity loans, and of course,
Okay.
mortgages. I mean, purchase mortgages,
Yeah.
mortgages for refinancing,
Right.
mortgages to refinance for college tuition, for a second home, open up a business. Really, I mean, that's really the bread and butter of community banks would be lending for residential mortgages.
Right.
It's still part of the American dream.
Okay. Well, talk to me about some of the challenges of your work.
I think challenges are you have a lot of nice community banks in the area, and they're all staffed by qualified people. And the idea is to offer just maybe a bit better service, to create some separation, maybe be a bit more visible in the community. I'm here today with you, just to let people know that community banks, especially Charles River Bank, are a great option. Many years ago, people always used to run to mortgage brokers all the time. And then mortgage brokers would sell their mortgages to Wells Fargo or Bank of America, and people got tired of that. When people bank with Charles River Bank and have a mortgage, most times the mortgage is serviced right in Medway. If
It
there's
doesn't get bundled and
it doesn't
and
get
resold?
bundled and sold. Nope. We service most of our own loans. If there's a question or a problem sometimes, and life sometimes does come with problems, they can call the main number, speak to someone right in Medway, and hopefully, if possible, get their problem addressed. I mean, we can't solve all problems, but certainly we can always listen.
But you can at least find the person
can
that,
find a-
that you can
And
deal
when you
with.
call the bank, it's answered by a human being.
Yeah.
It's the personal touch.
Any other things that you think of as challenges?
Well, I just think, in the future, we are blessed in the area to have a lot of nice community banks, and I think that's a very positive thing. So if our viewers are banking with a large bank, we shall not name, Bank of America, and they're looking to maybe move, I think now would be a good time to find a local bank, go in, talk to the branch manager, find out about fees, find out about services, and consider moving some of their accounts to a community bank. And certainly, if they're looking to buy a home or to refinance their home, check with the local bank, because they'll find that their rates are very competitive, their closing costs are excellent, and should there ever be a problem, there is a human being to listen, which I think is real key.
Oh, yeah, it is for me. Do all of your branches have the cookies that you?
As a matter
or
of
is that
fact,
just in Bellingham?
Okay. I'm going to give you an honest answer. All branches have cookies, but not all of them have fresh baked cookies.
Oh.
Okay. Our branch great question. Our branch in Mendon and our branch in Bellingham does have the oven out back, and we do have the fresh made cookies.
They're amazing.
They are amazing. The branch in Medway, though, does buy the cookies from a local store, a local drugstore, and then we unpackage them and leave them out. But they're not as good, great question, as the cookies in Mendon and the cookies in Bellingham.
Favorite of my granddaughters, absolutely.
Favorite of me as well. I think I told you, when I started with the bank, I weighed 140 pounds. And then the cookies took over.
It's all the fault of the cookies.
I'm blaming the cookies.
So that's another challenge of your job.
I'm
is you
taking
got
no
fresh
responsibility.
cookies.
Exactly.
You have to finish up those cookies at the end of the day that are left over.
You can't just
right?
leave them alone. It's very sad. I play with a few cookies. It's a terrible thing.
I agree. I agree. Talk to us about something surprising about your business or about your experience of your business.
I was thinking about this question is, most people right now have direct deposit from their employer to their accounts, and they think it's a hassle to switch their accounts to another bank. And the fact is, with computers the way they are right now, and with the human touch of our branch managers will actually assist any person that they like if they have auto pay from an account to switch the auto pay from their current bank to Charles River Bank, just to make the switching over even more convenient. We would never have someone do it alone. There would always be someone there to help you. I think sometimes people are so entrenched in their current bank, they think it's too much of a hassle to move. But really,
it does feel like a hassle. But
Believe
you're
me,
saying that if I came in and said, I want to change accounts, I've got an account at so-and-so bank,
Yes.
and I'd like to do it at your bank,
Yes.
what would you do? What would...
we actually have an online system to actually show you how to do it. And if you need someone to actually, I don't say hold your hand, but hold your hand
Oh, yeah.
to show you how to do it, we would do it as well. Because we understand that people now again have their pay auto deposited, and they have and they pay bills online.
What sort of information would I need to bring in to you
You'd
to
have to
make
bring
that,
in.
to facilitate
You'd have to
that?
bring in the account numbers from the accounts that you want to pay.
The one that you want to change?
Correct, exactly.
Okay.
And from your employer for direct deposit, you would have to give our routing number to your employer
Okay.
so that your check, instead of going to Bank X, would come to Charles River Bank.
Okay, so you'd have to take that step
Correct.
and make sure that you were clear with the bank
Correct.
what the routing number was, and then you just
Yeah.
go into work like you do anyway, take it to your HR person
Correct.
or whoever.
And any questions that you would have, any of our branch managers, because this does come up often, would be glad to work with you to make it as easy as possible.
Wow, okay.
It can be done. It is possible.
It is hard. It is hard to get us
No.
to change.
No,
I
you
know.
know something? What you're saying is very true. I mean, people need to be motivated to change because myself, we get comfortable.
Yep.
So sometimes it takes a major blunder on one bank's part to get you motivated to change. Well, if you ever get motivated, we'd be thrilled to work with you at Charles River Bank to show you how that change can be made.
Okay. I like the hand holding. I
tell you.
I don't find that a problem at
No,
all. I really
if you,
like
if
that
you
idea.
hold your hand with one hand and have cookies with the other, it'll work out very well.
Yay.
It's a win-win.
I know. Anything else that we might be surprised to learn about banking or about a kind of amusing experience that you've had in 25 years?
I think I think as far as banking goes, I said it. Community banks are the way to go. Even if it's not Charles River Bank, if you live in an area where there's a community bank, you might want to go in there to see just how the service is, the hello, the handshake, and the fact that at a community bank like ours, employees tend to stay there a long time. Okay?
Yep.
Sometimes you go to a large bank and the tellers are turning over all the time, and the CSR that was there yesterday is gone today. They've been transferred to another bank, or they've left to go to a different bank. At Charles River Bank, it's been basically the same faces, the same smiles, saying good morning to you every day for many years. And as I said, even our bank president lives in Mendon. I mean, you see our employees at the store or at restaurants or in the community helping other people. And since we do have 5 minutes, I did say, one thing which is wonderful about a community bank is the fact that we give back to the community. And I think that's key. We're not located in South Carolina somewhere. We're here, and when the Little League team needs money, Charles River Bank and other banks. When other schools need sponsorships, it's Charles River Bank. When cheerleaders need funding, it's Charles River Bank and other banks. So I think it's important to realize that when you deposit with a community bank, the money that you're depositing, obviously it's yours, but also goes in and works to make the community a better place to live.
Well, obviously, the Charles River Bank also supports the BBA, as do the other
Yes,
banks in the area.
exactly.
With your membership. So that's another way of giving back. Is there anything else you'd like to add that I didn't ask you about?
Since I'm out of water, I'm all set. No thank you. I think I've spoken my piece.
Okay. Well, finally, let our viewers know the best way that they can contact you if they have more information.
I'd love to
more
take
questions.
calls. People can call me anytime they like with any mortgage questions or any questions about banking. My cell number is 508-330-8487, 508-330-8487, and I'd love to talk to people and answer any of their questions.
Okay. All right. Well, with the time remaining, I want to remind our viewers that the next meeting of the BBA will be on March 12th at PJ's Bar and Grill. And the topic of this meeting will be networking, which is a really nice opportunity for members, any members of the BBA, to get better acquainted, become more familiar about what we do, each of us do with our businesses.
I've heard the food is excellent, by the way.
Oh boy! Well, that's I look forward to seeing you Wednesday, and so it's a really popular meeting. But the more the merrier who can come and network at that meeting. Now, in closing, I want to thank Mike Shain of Charles River Bank
Been a
for
pleasure.
being my guest today. Please check back in with us for the next edition of Strictly Business coming in April.